Hello, students. This is Mrs. Youd, and today I'm going to teach you Chapter 2, Lesson 3, which is about reflections. As a reminder, you should have out your spiral notebook and also your RPJ. Today we're going to be learning about reflections, like I said. So go ahead and open up a new page to your spiral notebook and put this at the top, 2.3 reflections. A reflection, and by the way, this is a vocabulary word that you need to know. A reflection or a flip is a transformation in which a figure is reflected, and it's reflected in a line, and that is called the line of reflection. So that is also a vocab word. Some people like to think of this as a flip, so you're flipping it over the line, but the mathematical term for it is reflection. For example, if I took this block letter E and I were to reflect it in this line of reflection right here, then what I would need to do is I would need to look at each of the points. So I'll start with this one. I'm going to go to the line of reflection and then I'm going to go past it the exact same amount and I'll put a point there. And I would need to do this for all of these points. And what I would end up with is a backwards letter E like this. Okay, and remember that just like when we did the previous one of translations, the first image that you start with, or the pre-image, excuse me, this is the pre-image, and the new one that's formed is also called the image, just like what it was with transformations. And that's the case for all of these transformations. You start with the pre-image, and then the new shape would be the image. So how we're going to be showing that we know how to use reflections is by graphing. So I want you to go ahead and pause the video and create a graph like I did here. Okay, so if we have this triangle here, we're going to call this triangle ABC. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do two things with this triangle. First, I'm going to reflect it over the x-axis. And so if we have this line here, remember, is my x-axis. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to reflect each point in the x-axis. And so if I start with letter A, I look at where A is, and I go to the line of reflection and then past it the same amount. And my new point A will be here. And we'll call that A prime, because that's my new image point. We're going to do the same thing with our other 2 points. So let's take a look at where B is, and we're going to go to the line of reflection and then past it the same amount, which looks like it'll be about there. So this would be B prime, and then C prime, which is here, or sorry, we start with C, and C prime would be right about there. And so this would be my C prime. Obviously, you'll be doing this on actual graph paper, so it'll be a whole lot easier to find your points using actual graph paper. And we're going to do that on in our RPJs on the next slide. Okay, so here we have our image. And so this is the image, and it is a reflection of triangle ABC in the x-axis. All right, so now I'm going to show you how I'm going to take that same triangle ABC, and this time I'm going to reflect it in the y-axis. So here is my line of reflection for the y-axis this time. And we're going to do the same thing that we did before, except for we're going to flip it, instead of flipping it down over the x-axis, we're going to flip it to the right over the y-axis. So I'm going to start with letter B here, and I'm going to go to the line of reflection and then past it what looks to be about the same amount, and I'll put my new letter B right here. And because we've already used B prime, I'm going to call this B with 2 tick marks, and how we say that is double prime. So this is B double prime. I'm going to do the same thing with letter C. So we start with C and we go to the line of reflection and then past it the same amount. So it's right about here. So that would be C double prime. And then A double prime would be right about here. And now I'm going to connect my dots. Okay, and so this red triangle is a reflection of triangle ABC, this time in the y-axis. Okay, so once again, here we have our triangle and we're going to reflect it. So we reflected it in the x-axis first, and it flipped upside down and came down here. Then we took the same triangle, this time reflected it in the y-axis, and it flipped over to this side and turned the opposite direction. Okay, so now we're going to move on to some problems from your RPJ. So please turn to page 32 in your RPJ. Numbers 1 through 3 is just asking us, is it a reflection of so is the shaded figure a reflection of the non-shaded figure? Number 1, a lot of people want number 1 to be yes, but it's actually a no. This one's kind of tricky. If we were to take this point here and reflect it, we would go to the line of reflection and past it, and it would actually should be right about there. And this one would be right about here. So this line is a reflection of this line. Notice that that is definitely not what we see going on here. Number 1 looks like actually it's a translation. It looks like it took this shape and just picked it up and moved it, and it's here. So it's not actually a reflection. This instead is a translation, which is what we learned about in section 2. So let's take a look at number 2. Is this shape a reflection in the line and becomes this shape? So I would say yes, this definitely is, because if we look, let's say if we looked at this piece and brought it over, that does match up. And I see that this point also matches up with this point. So we would say yes, this is a reflection. On number 3, is that a reflection? And I would say yes as well. You'll notice that you can see this part of it's a cylinder, and then it reflects and now it's on the bottom. So yeah, this is also a reflection. So let's take a look at numbers 4 and 5. This time we're told to draw the figure and its reflection in the x-axis. So we're doing just the x-axis for numbers 4 and 5. And we also want to identify the coordinates of the image. So my first step in number 4 is to go ahead and graph the 3 points that were given. A is 1, 2, so we're going to go over 1 and up 2, and it lives there. Letter B is 3, 2, so we start at the origin, go 3 on the x, and then up 2 on the y, so B lives here. And C is at 1, 4. So we start at the origin, go over 1 on the x-axis and up 4 on the y-axis. So C lives here. And I went ahead and connected my points so that now I have my triangle. All right, so let's take a look and it says draw the figure. Okay, we just did that. Now we need to draw the reflection in the x-axis. So let's see where the x-axis is. Aha, this is a clue. There's an x there. That means that this is my x-axis. So if I'm going to take each of these points and reflect them, I'll start with letter A. I'm going to go to the line of reflection. I'm going to count 1, 2 to the line of reflection. So we're going to go 1, 2 past the line of reflection, and my new point A now lives here. So I'm going to call that A prime because that is the prime, remember we put in for the image. Let's go ahead and write what these points are. So instead of over 1 and up 2 like we had before, now we're going over 1 and down 2. So this is going to be 1 comma negative 2. Let's take a look at letter B. So letter B, we're going to count 1, 2 to the line of reflection, and 1, 2 past the line of reflection. So my new point is here, and we'll call that B prime. And again, whereas before we had 3, 2, so it was over 3 up 2, this time it's over 3 down 2. So my new point here is going to be 3 comma negative 2 this time. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at letter C. C is here. We're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. That's to the line of reflection. So now we need to go 4 past it. 1, 2, 3, 4 past it. So that means that letter C lives here. So we'll call that C prime. And before it was at 1 comma 4. Now it's at 1 comma negative 4. So 1 comma negative 4 is my new point C prime. And I'm going to go ahead and connect my 3 dots. And let's see if we finished everything in the instructions. Draw the figure. Yep, that's what we did in blue. And its reflection in the x-axis. That's what we did in red. Identify the coordinates of the image. So that's why I wrote the 3 points here. Those are the coordinates. All right, let's take a look at number 5. W is 3, 1. So we go over 3 and up 1. So W lives here. X is 3, 4. So we start at the origin, go over 3 and up 4. X lives here. Y is at 1, 4. Start at the origin, over 1, up 4. Y lives here. And lastly, Z is at 1, 1. So we start at the origin, over 1, up 1. Z lives here. And so there we have our figure. So now we need to draw the reflection again in the x-axis. So this once again is my x-axis right here. And so that's what we're going to be drawing our reflection in. So we'll start with Z. Z was at 1, 1. We count to the line of reflection 1 unit. We go past it 1 unit. So the new Z prime will be here at 1, comma, -1. Y is here at 1, 4. We need to count to the line of reflection. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means we're going to go past it 4 units. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the new point of Y is here, which is at 1, comma, -4. Now we'll do X. X is here. So we count to the line of reflection. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go past it the same amount. 1, 2, 3, 4. So X lives here at 3, comma, -4. And I just realized that I forgot to put the prime symbol on all of these. So all of these are actually going to be Z prime, X prime, and Y prime. Okay, last one. W is here at 3, comma, 1. We're going to count to the line of reflection 1 unit and go past it 1 unit. So W prime will live here. And there we have our reflection. Okay, let's read the directions for numbers 6 and 7. Draw the figure and its reflection in the y-axis. Okay, so this time we're doing a different axis. And then identify the coordinates of the image. So this is actually exactly the same as numbers 4 and 5. In numbers 4 and 5, we did it in the x-axis. This time we're going to flip it over into the y-axis instead. So let's go ahead and graph our points. Letter J is at 3, 4. Start at the origin, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. So letter J lives here. Letter K is at 3, 0. So start at the origin, 1, 2, 3. And it doesn't move up and down at all. It just stays at 0. So letter K lives here. Letter L is at 2, 4. So start at the origin, go over 2 and up 4. Letter L lives here. And there we have our shape. It's a long and skinny triangle. Okay, this time let's read the directions again. It says draw the figure and then its reflection in the y-axis, and then we want to identify the coordinates of the new image. So let's see if we can figure out where our y-axis is. Aha, this is a clue. There's a y there. So that means that this is our y-axis, which this time that will be our line of reflection. So let's start with letter J. Letter J is at 3, 4. We want to go to the line of reflection. So 1, 2, 3 to the line of reflection. 1, 2, 3 past the line of reflection. So our new J prime will be here. Now let's write the coordinates of that point. So this point is over 3 and up 4. This time it's to the new J prime is going to be to the left 3. So -3. But this time the y stays the same. So 4 stays the same, and it's the x that changes. So -3, comma 4. Okay, let's take a look at letter K. Letter K is here at 3, comma 0. So we're going to move it 1, 2, 3 to the line of reflection. So that means we go 3 past it. 1, 2, 3. So our new letter K prime will be here at -3, 0. And lastly, letter L, which was at 2, 4. So we start here, go to the line of reflection twice, go 2 past it, which is here. So our new L prime will be here, which is at -2, 4. All right, let's take a look at number 7. I'm going to let you go ahead and pause the video and graph all 4 of those points on your own. Okay, that's what you should have gotten. It looks like a kite. So now we're going to reflect it once again in the y-axis. Here is our y, so that means that this is our y-axis. So let's go ahead and start with letter M, which was at 2, 2. So 1, 2 to the line of reflection, 1, 2 past the line of reflection, so it will be now at -2, comma 2. And N was at 2, comma 3. So that's going to go to the line of reflection twice and 2 past it. So now it's at -2, comma 3. P was here at 3, comma 3, so we're going to count to the line of reflection. 1, 2, 3 units. 1, 2, 3 past it, and now it lives here at negative 3, comma 3. And lastly, letter Q is at 4, 1. So we're going to go to the line of reflection, 1, 2, 3, 4, and go 4 past it, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the new point of Q prime will be here. And I just realized that again, I forgot to put primes on N and P, so I'm going to do that and go ahead and put in point Q prime. And there we have our answer. The nice thing about reflections is that the shape, the new image, is always going to look exactly like the pre-image. So if you get some wonky shape that doesn't match up, you know that you probably did something wrong and you need to check your work. Okay, last question. It says, in a pinball game, when you perfectly reflect a ball off the wall, will the ball hit the bonus target? So here we have the ball here, and we're going to the wall is what they want us to go to the origin here. So the way that, the easiest way to find out if you're going to do this right is if you count um, up and over. So from here, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2. So that means that if you hit it off the wall there, it's going to be the same amount up and over. So we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 2. So it's going to go this direction. Okay, so that means that it's going to be here, it's going to come to hit the wall, and then it's going to end up right there. So does it hit that bonus? I would say yes, but barely. It's not quite on the bonus. The bonus I would say would be here, but it does hit the outside of that star. So we're going to say yes, but barely, because it would come to this point here and then past it as a reflection. And we're going to say, yes, it touches the outside of that star bonus. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks for watching.